Sprawl Repair in Florida. If we are going to be talking today about repair, this means that something was broken. Something hasn't been working very well, and probably most of you are aware that the way we have been developing, the way our growth has been happening in the past 5-6 decades has not been very positive. Actually, sprawl has been malfunctioning for many years, and unfortunately, most recently with the economic crisis, it has become very obvious. With the many foreclosures, especially in the exurbs, especially in our sprawling communities. All the problems of sprawl were magnified by this economic demise or this recession. And unfortunately, from all we can see in the media and from what we hear, we are in a kind of post-recessional period of time, and it may take a few years for us to get out of this situation. And Florida actually is quite an interesting place. Florida is, we have been growing really very robustly, and I'm sure that these days you have been, hearing, and you are actually architects from Florida, so you know where we have been and what we have been doing for all these decades. The interesting thing is also that Florida has been so-called an urban lab. You know, we can define Florida is a state where a lot of experimentation in urban planning has been happening. There were so many new communities which have been built in the past 2 or 3 decades, and these communities, they have become basically examples for the rest of the country, and even worldwide they have become very influential. Just to mention a few, Seaside, Florida, maybe most of you know about this project. In the early 80s, it kind of set a new tone about urban planning, bringing back some of the principles of traditional design and traditional planning to the profession, to the architectural profession and to the urban design profession, bringing kind of very simple and very common sense rules and principles like, well, buildings are important to shape the public realm, and we can still build blocks and streets and public spaces the way our traditional towns and the way our beloved American neighborhoods were functioning before. Places like Celebration, you know, kind of the second generation in the early 90s, another project of similar nature, bringing these common sense rules to the table. This is Meisner Park, not far away from here, the first retrofit of a mall in the country. It was built basically it was a mall, and in the early 90s was retrofitted, and this is the project today. Hale Plantation, another one in Gainesville, which was a large conventional suburban development with a village center, kind of retrofitted with a very vibrant little town center. So many of these communities, we may say that they influenced the development practices around the United States. A lot of urban cities actually, downtowns were redeveloped during these years. Many, we have been witnessing a lot of Renaissance development in these places, whether it's West Palm Beach or Fort Myers, or this is Naples on the other side of the state, in downtown Orlando, Winter Park, Sarasota, Stuart, Delray Beach. I mean, I can go on and on about all the towns, all the cities which have seen a lot of redevelopment. On another front, the front of the regulatory reform, we needed to make a lot of changes. In the early 80s, actually, any of these kind of very elemental rules of urban planning were not possible to be executed because the regulatory framework was set for just suburban development. So the first one, the first form-based code, we may claim that was the code of Seaside, where very simple 8 building types were set as a kind of the form-based